There's a religion born in Persia, modern-day Iran, that now has its holiest sites in Israel, a country Iran refuses to recognize. It has 8 million followers worldwide, stunning gardens that attract millions of visitors, teachings of peace, unity and equality, and yet most people have never heard of it. This is the Baha'i Faith. So how did a religion born in Persia end up in Israel? Why were its founders exiled thousands of miles from home? And why does Iran now persecute followers of a faith it gave birth to? Stay connected if you want to find out more, and please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you would like to discover more curious connections around the world. The story begins in 1844 in Shiraz, Persia. A young merchant named Sayyid Ali Muhammad declared himself the Bab, meaning the gate, and announced he was a messenger preparing the way for a greater revelation to come. His message was revolutionary: the unity of all religions, the equality of men and women, the elimination of prejudice. In a society where Islamic law was absolute, these teachings were seen as heresy. The Bab was imprisoned, and in 1850 he was executed by firing squad in Tabriz. His followers were hunted down and killed, but the movement didn't die with him. In 1863, one of the Bab's followers, a nobleman named Mirza Hussain Ali, declared he was the promised one the Bab had foretold. He took the title Baha'u'llah, meaning glory of God, and became the founder of what we now know as the Baha'i Faith. Following imprisonment in Tehran, Baha'u'llah was exiled from Persia. He spent 10 years in Baghdad, then moved to Constantinople, then Adrianople, before eventually being sent by the Ottoman authorities to the prison city of Acre in Ottoman Palestine. Yet even in this prison, Baha'u'llah continued to write. His teachings spread through letters sent to world leaders, to Napoleon III, to Queen Victoria, to the Shah of Persia, calling for peace, justice and the unity of humanity. Over time his influence grew. The Ottoman authorities gradually relaxed his confinement, and in 1877, after 9 years of strict imprisonment, Baha'u'llah was allowed to leave the city walls. He moved to a mansion outside Acre called Baji, where he would spend the rest of his life. Baji would become the faith's most sacred spot, the Qibla or spiritual focal point towards which Baha'is turn in prayer. And it was from there, looking across the bay at Mount Carmel in Haifa, that he designated the location where the Bab's remains would be laid to rest. In 1892, Baha'u'llah died. He was buried at Baji, and his son, Abdul Baha, took on the mission of building the shrine on Mount Carmel. The shrine of the Bab was completed in 1909. It's a simple but elegant building with a golden dome perched partway up Mount Carmel overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. But Abdul Baha envisioned more than just a shrine. He wanted gardens that would symbolize the Baha'i vision of unity and beauty. Over the decades that followed, his successors continued that vision. Between the late 1980s and early 2000s, the gardens were transformed into what exists today. 19 terraces cascading 1,000 feet down the mountainside, each level mirroring the one above and below. The number is no accident. 18 terraces represent the Bab's first disciples, with the 19th and the shrine itself at the centre honouring the Bab. The gardens overflow with flowers, fountains and perfectly manicured pathways, echoing the ancient Persian Chahar Bagh, the fourfold paradise gardens of the Bab's homeland, recreated here by exiles on a Mediterranean mountainside. These gardens are now one of the most visited sites in Israel. They are open to the public free of charge. Pilgrims come from around the world. Tourists wander through them, often not knowing the story behind their beauty. In 2008, UNESCO designated the Baha'i holy places, including the shrine and gardens in Haifa and the shrine of Baha'u'llah at Baji, as World Heritage Sites. The Baha'i Faith didn't stay confined to the Middle East. Today there are Baha'i communities in virtually every country on earth. In New Delhi, the Lotus Temple, a Baha'i house of worship shaped like a blooming flower, is one of the most visited buildings in the world, attracting over 4 million visitors a year. The core Baha'i teachings remain the same: the oneness of humanity, the equality of men and women, the harmony of science and religion, and the elimination of all forms of prejudice. But here's where the story takes a darker turn. Iran, the birthplace of the Baha'i Faith, remains one of the most dangerous places in the world to be a Baha'i. The Islamic Republic does not recognize the Baha'i Faith as an official religion. Baha'is cannot attend university, are denied government jobs, have their businesses shut down and cemeteries destroyed. Hundreds have been imprisoned simply for practicing their faith. Some have been executed. The irony is profound. A religion born in Persia is now persecuted in its homeland, while its twin holiest sites, the shrine of the Bab in Haifa and the shrine of Baha'u'llah at Baji, flourish in what is now Israel, a country Iran does not recognize. Exile brought the Baha'i Faith to Haifa in the 19th century, long before modern borders were drawn. Persecution keeps it from returning to Iran. It's so curious that a faith born in 19th century Persia found its final sanctuary on a mountainside in Haifa. It's even more curious that a religion preaching unity, peace, and the oneness of humanity has its holiest sites in one of the most divided regions on earth. On a more hopeful note, Haifa stands out as one of Israel's most religiously diverse cities, where Jews, Muslims, Christians, Druze, and Baha'is live in closer proximity than in most Israeli cities. Tensions exist, as they do everywhere here, but Haifa remains a rare, imperfect example of daily coexistence in a contested region. So the next time you think of the Middle East, remember this: on a mountainside in Haifa, 19 terraces stretch toward the sea. They were built by exiles thousands of miles from home. They're open to everyone, and they stand as a reminder that even in the most contested places, there are stories of hope.